Next, let's queer up travel as we are speaking about it. The Florida Outcoast Convention for LGBTQ plus tourism is coming to Coral Gables, August 12th through the 14th. An exciting LGBTQ plus event is set to take place in Florida this summer. The Florida Outcoast Convention, called FLOC, is gearing up for its return in 2024, promising to be the premier gathering for professionals in the LGBTQ plus tourism industry. This unique conference aims to bring together destination leaders, agencies, and tourism professionals from both within and outside the state. The goal is to engage in meaningful conversations on effectively reaching, supporting, and understanding LGBTQ plus travelers, meeting host and group sales clients. This is especially important in an era when many national and international organizations have issued travel warnings, and some even calling for boycotts for LGBTQ plus travel to Florida. Scheduled for August 12th to the 14th, the convention boasts an impressive lineup of hosts and speakers, including MC, our very own Faye keynote speaker Chris Rollins, creator of the Ripple Effect Leader, Giuseppe Giglio from gay.it, and Angela Yarber, author of Queering the American Dream, among others, will be participating. Early bird registration is currently open, and this exciting event will be held at the Lowe's Coral Gables Hotel, fabulous place, situated in the heart of Plaza Coral Gables. The conference lead sponsor is who we were just talking about, the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau. And as we have reported at Queer News Tonight, Miami-Dade County is one of the world's top LGBTQ plus travel destinations, and queer travel to Miami is led by none other than a Queer News Tonight anchor, Dan Rios, one of America's top LGBTQ plus tourism experts, leading the LGBT division at the Convention and Visitors Bureau. There are many events, education programs, and a special mention goes to the Flamboyance Award and cocktail reception. Love that name. Slated for Tuesday, August 13th. Flamboyance will honor the achievements of the inclusion and inclusiveness of tourism companies and LGBTQ plus organizations across the state of Florida. Further information is available at flocc.lgbt. We are very happy, of course, that Rachel Cavello, the CEO of the FLOC LGBTQ plus travel convention, is an anchor with us again this evening on Queer News Tonight. Rachel, we're happy to have you. Let's start from the standpoint of what you do at Outcoast and why you're having this convention. Help us understand. We know about our bars, we know about our entertainment, we know about our nonprofits, we know about our prides. Why is tourism important? Why?
So, I run Outcoast.com, which we had mentioned, that focuses on LGBT inclusive destinations, attractions, businesses in Florida and beyond. We recently just expanded. Last year, I guess it was before last year, end of 2022, I had been to several conventions in Florida and beyond. I started in my tourism space with the IGLTA, which is based right here in Fort Lauderdale. But one of the things I started noticing was I had spoken at conferences. I'd been to the Governor's Convention on Tourism, which, by the way, the governor does not go to. At least he's never been in my history of going. The Florida Attraction Association and some really great organizations out there that put together tourism conferences. What I started to notice, though, the conversations around DEI, but especially LGBTQ tourism topics, were starting to disappear. They were starting to be pulled back from conversation. And part of that is, keep in mind, many of these destinations, whether it be Visit Lauderdale or Visit St. Pete Clearwater or Visit Miami, et cetera, are also overseen, and it's government funded. It's tax dollars that help support these organizations. And so I think when a lot of the news was happening, where travel advisories were put out there, they also started stepping back a little bit from potentially getting as involved. So
out of fear?
I think out of fear, out of lack of knowledge, out of not sure what to say at the it's like a PR thing. Like, what do you say in these moments that isn't the wrong thing to say or is the right thing to say? And so it just got easier to not say anything. Lauderdale, of course, Stacey Ritter is an incredible leader and voice for allyship in the LGBT community, and very much commend the work that she does and Richard Gray does for this destination. But we needed a space for these conversations, a safe space for these conversations, and that's what the goal is.
So that's what you in 2023 you did the conference in Tampa, and now you're coming to Coral Gables to South Florida. Very good choice, by the way. And so people come together, especially tourism experts, to talk about how they can broaden their appeal for LGBT travelers. Is that basically the gist of what happens?
The main goal is to have a safe space for these conversations. It's a space to unite. It's a space to amplify the voices of the people, the good things that are happening in the state. I'm a big fan of, there's lots of places to bash leadership and, complain about what's happening in the state. But given what we have right now, how do we continue marketing to LGBTQ travelers? How do we continue bringing groups? How do the salespeople that are on the front line bringing meetings in, how do they deal with questions like, why is Florida doing what they're doing? And do you have the appropriate bathroom set up for transgender attendees? And so it's creating that space for that, and then strategizing, how do we work together? So what I'm very big on is having not just tourism leaders like the DMOs, destination marketing organizations, not just having those leaders show up, but having the hotels show up, having the attractions show up, the pride organization leaders that bring in events to destinations that drive tourism in the LGBT space, meeting planners, travel planners, anyone who touches Florida tourism should be a part of this conversation. Anybody who's an advocate for inclusive tourism should be a part of this conversation.
I know it will not surprise Rachel, but I can't tell you in the 5 years that I've been down here, or 6 years now, working with hotspots and happening out. When I talk about tourism, first off, Visit Lauderdale, and Broward County is the #1 LGBT tourism destination in the world. It's not New York, it's not Los Angeles, it's not San Francisco, it's not London, it's Broward County. More visitors to Broward County than any other destination in the world. You know where #2 is? Miami-Dade County in the world, #1 and #2. And when I have conversations with LGBT people, business leaders, nonprofits, et cetera, it's, well, what's the big deal of how it affects us? What's the big deal about tourism? It creates all of our jobs, whether it's direct job creation or secondary job creation. The amount of money LGBT tourism in Broward County amounts to $1 billion in spending from LGBT in Broward County. Well, they buy hotel rooms, and they eat in the restaurants, and they go to Hunter's nightclub, and they buy concert tickets at the Master Chorale, and they go on cruises, et cetera, and so on. Tourism is critically important. When you face that to try to explain why LGBT tourism is so important, how do you overcome that in educating? Because that's really what you're doing.
Sadly, sometimes it really just comes down to numbers. It comes down to talking to destination leaders about the financial impact, and I hate having to start with money as the leading. It should be
always comes down.
It should be the human component, but sometimes it does come down to money, depending on what destination you're working with. One of the things that I've been doing a lot more and advocating for when I work with destinations on like marketing campaigns, when we do marketing campaigns for Outcoast, for instance, is lead with empathy. Lead with understanding your traveler before you start talking about fancy beaches and food and dining out, experiences, because if they don't feel safe in those spaces, it all goes back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If you don't have shelter, food, and safety, you're not going anywhere. So make sure you're addressing those first in marketing before you add on all the pretty stuff. But it's so important to really think about, safety. Safety in tourism is big. You ask any tourism expert.
You're going where it's safe.
Yeah. What's your #1 thing you think about? As a man, no offense to the men in this group, but as a white, cisgender, straight male, that might not be the #1 focus. But as a woman, safety is always, especially a solo traveler. I mean, I was going out last night in Miami, and I asked the front desk, where's the safest place for me to go? I wasn't worried because I was gay. I was worried because I was a single woman traveling. But when you add on LGBT components, then you're worried about emotional safety and mental safety on top of the physical safety. And you have to think about those things in tourism before you think about anything
Sounds
else.
like a fabulous opportunity for people to learn about how to be better in LGBT. One last question I want to ask you about in the conference. So all of these people are going to come from all over to Coral Gables for the 3 days. I'm looking forward to coming. How are they going to react with, they aren't going to have any problems with a voice booming out like Faye Watts?
Oh.
No, I mean, remember, the name of our gala is Flamboyance, and I can't think of
There
someone
you
more
go.
flamboyant.
And did that name come from FL? That's what you were looking for?
Yeah,
Like
so believe it or not,
Florida?
it was kind of perfect because flamboyance actually also means a group of flamingos.
Yes.
And so
I didn't know that.
our convention is flamingo themed.
Did you notice the drawing?
Yes,
Rainbows,
right.
Gay rainbows. And the cool thing about the new AI technology,
We are
I can
so
now-
gay, by the way.
AI now allows me to make rainbow flamingos very quickly. So I've been using them.
Oh, look at
Wow.
marketing.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
our
That is
logo,
awesome, isn't it?
Flamboyance is obviously super gay and super group of flamingos, and it just
You know what's really
Perfect.
cool about
Perfect.
that?
So
Our
great.
age group knows this. You know, Gen Zers have no idea what I'm talking about. Once upon a time, being called flamboyant was a
Yes.
slur. So,
Well, it was
It was a code word for being
polite
gay.
society way of
More of
saying
a
that
code.
guy's gay.
Yes,
I'm
right.
taking, I'm taking
Artistic.
that word back. I'm taking
Thank
that word
you.
back.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm just making sure we're clear. No problem with being a loud, boisterous.
No, I think, you know,
She's gonna get
one of the
you.
things-
Time to move on.
You know, when we were planning, the convention, look, I'm the face of Outcoast, but I didn't want to be the voice necessarily of my own convention. And I also realized that in Miami culturally is very different from,
You think?
I live in St. Pete. Like we're a little whiter on the other side of the coast.
There's
and I wanted-
Ohio, and
no.
then there's Faye's New Jersey.
Oh, no.
We
Right.
understand. Right?
And so we also needed to represent the culture of the destination that we're in. And I think Faye is not only a fellow lipstick lesbian, which I love, but she's also Latina. And I want to add a little,
Spice.
Little
flair,
spice.
little
All right.
spice. to the
All right.
convention.
While you're doing that, I'll be in the fourth row, and I'll be the jeering.
Oh.
Okay.
No. One last thing. Remind everybody how they get more information.
Yeah. So if you go to the easiest way is go to www.flocc.lgbt. Do not go to .com or .org, or you'll go to a religious
Yeah.
site of the house,
Different.
flocking a different kind of flock. So
And,
LGBT.
you know, one last thought before we move.
No
Yvonne's,
problem.
patiently waiting for me.
Aw.
One of the things that I think is wonderful in this, and having our conversation tonight on this, so many of our different stories of Brett. One of the things I think is wonderful about our community is when we can demonstrate, wait, we're not any one thing. We are everything.
Yeah.
And we represent everything.
Multitudes.
Multitudes of our community. It just makes our community stronger. So we're really exciting. August 12th through the 14th.
Thank you.
Down at the Lowe's in Coral Gables.
It's a beautiful hotel, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You think?
It came down. We had 2 hotels we were looking at, and that hotel,
Yeah.
above and beyond impressed.
Yeah,
So.
beautiful.